Have you ever wondered what it's really like to work at Spotify? For so many people in tech, it's the dream job, right? But their culture, their hiring process, it can all feel like a bit of a black box. So today, we're going to pry that box open. Think of this as your backstage pass, an explainer to demystify Spotify's unique philosophy and show you exactly what it takes to join their band.
Okay, so let's start with the most important thing you need to understand. This one sentence. This is the key to everything. It's not just some cutesy tagline, it's the core metaphor that literally shapes the entire company. See, they're not trying to build a typical corporation. They're putting together a band. And just like any great band, it's all about rhythm, collaboration, and playing in sync.
And if Spotify is a band, then this right here, this is their sheet music. This mission statement is what every single person in the company, from a back-end engineer to a data scientist, plays from. It's their North Star. It guides every decision, every line of code, every feature they ship. The goal isn't just to stream audio. It's about fueling creativity on a massive, global scale. So how do you get a band with thousands of members to play in perfect harmony? Well, it all starts with their cultural foundation, the band manifesto. Let's dig into the core principles that define how every single member is expected to show up and perform.
These 5 values are basically the DNA of Spotify's culture. They're looking for people who are innovative, folks who aren't afraid to take smart risks. Sincere, which means no office politics, just honest, open feedback. Passionate, you gotta believe in the mission we just saw. Super collaborative, because it's a team sport, always. And finally, playful. They work incredibly hard, but they don't take themselves too seriously.
Now this is where it gets really interesting, because this quote totally reframes the idea of failure. Most companies are terrified of it, but at Spotify, failure is seen as a crucial part of innovation. It means you are aiming for something big, something new. The key is to learn from it, not punish it. And that mindset gives everyone the freedom to take those big, calculated risks.
This really drives home how different their mindset is. You can just forget about the old-school corporate ladder. Spotify sees your career as a marathon, not some frantic sprint to the next promotion. The focus isn't on grabbing a new title every year. It's all about your personal growth, the skills you're picking up, and the real impact you're having over the long haul. So the bottom line is this. Spotify is not trying to hire a band full of flashy lead guitarists. They're not looking for rock stars. They're building a balanced, collaborative group, and because of that, they value things like adaptability, raw ability, and that deep internal drive way more than a perfect resume. It's all about finding the right person for the band, not just the most famous musician.
Okay, so that's the culture. But how does all this philosophy stuff translate into the actual day-to-day work of an engineer? Let's switch gears and look at the technical side of things and see how this massive band actually plays in sync.
You know, with thousands of microservices running, things could get chaotic really fast. Spotify manages all that complexity with this 3-part framework. New engineers get on the golden path to learn the Spotify way. They use golden technologies, approved tools and languages to keep everything consistent. And all the teams are working toward the golden state, which is like the ideal, up-to-date version of their tech.
And to make sure everybody's actually following that framework, they built this really cool tool called Soundcheck. You can think of it as the conductor for their entire engineering orchestra. It makes all those tech standards visible right inside their developer portal so teams can see exactly how healthy their code is and what they need to do to get it up to snuff.
All right, we know the culture, we know the tech, so how do you actually get a spot in the band? Let's talk about the audition. Spotify's interview process is known for being tough, but it's really a two-way street. It's a mutual sound check to see if you and the company are actually a good fit for each other.
And let's be real here. The sources we looked at are pretty clear. This process is hard. It's not just about solving some abstract coding puzzles. It's designed to see how you think, how you collaborate, and how you handle real pressure. They want to know if you're the kind of person they'd want to be in the trenches with at 2 in the morning during a major outage. And man, this whole thing moves fast. The entire process, from that first call with a recruiter to a final decision, can happen in just a few weeks. After the first couple of screens, you hit what they call the on-site gauntlet, which is a whole series of intense interviews meant to test you from every possible angle. There's really not much room for error.
So you're ready for the audition. What's the playbook for success? All right, here it is, the final actionable breakdown of what you need to know to get through the process and earn your spot in the band.
The on-site is basically built around these 4 pillars:
You've got the programming round, which tests your core coding and data structures chops. System design is all about seeing if you can think at a huge scale. Then you have the values interview, which is absolutely critical. That's where they see if you really vibe with the band manifesto. And finally, a case study, where they throw a real-world problem at you to see how you solve it.
Okay, here's the first big tip, and you have to listen to this one. Think out loud. The interviewer cares way less about you getting the perfect answer instantly and way more about how you get to a solution. Explain your assumptions, talk through the trade-offs. Basically, treat it like you're working through a problem with a future teammate.
This goes right back to that core value of sincerity. Look, if you don't know something, just say it. It is so much better to be honest and show you're self-aware than to try and bluff your way through an answer. It actually shows humility and a willingness to learn, which are huge pluses at Spotify.
And this is probably the most important one. Remember that famous line from their CEO, "We have no patience for entitled egos"? It's for real. Collaboration and humility, they're non-negotiable. You have to show you can listen, take feedback, and work as part of the team. Remember, you're auditioning to join a band, not to launch a solo career. So there you have it, the culture, the tech, and the playbook. Spotify has built this really unique world that demands a rare mix of deep technical skills and an even deeper commitment to collaboration. So the real question isn't just whether you can code, it's whether you can play in sync with the band.